And the Treasurer's right-hand man, Finance Minister Mathias Cormann, is here. Minister, no surprises, no excuses and no new taxes. That was the slogan that you were elected on. Doesn't sound like you stuck to your promises there.
Well, we don't think that anyone across Australia would be surprised that in government we're doing what needs to be done to repair the budget. We're certainly not making any excuses. We're taking full responsibility for the plan that we put forward last night. We think it is an honest budget, it's a fair budget, it's a budget that starts to rebuild the economy, to build a stronger, more prosperous economy and to repair the budget.
Well, it does sound like some promises have been broken, Minister. Can we just go back to Tony Abbott talking on radio during the election campaign last year? Have a listen to this.
If we do win the election and we immediately say, oh, we got it all wrong, we've now got to do all these different things, we will instantly be just as bad as the current government has been, and I just refuse to be like that.
Minister, are you embarrassed about that now?
Not at all. We're not being like the last government was, and indeed, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, what we've put forward last night is a budget that we think is in the national interest. We've reviewed all the information, we've assessed all the options, we've made judgments that we think are right for our country, that help strengthen our country. Now, in 2.5 years' time, there'll be another election, and people across Australia will have the chance to pass judgment on our performance. And if, in their view, we've made the right decisions, we've made fair decisions, we've made decisions to strengthen Australia, hopefully they'll give us another go for another 3 years. If they think that there is a better alternative, no doubt they'll make a different decision.
Minister, we all know that the budget is a product that needs to be sold, and there's been plenty of selling today, and I know a little bit about selling. Do you assume that the market is not going to see through the spin?
Well, we are being absolutely open and honest with the Australian people. We've inherited a budget in a mess. We've inherited a spending growth trajectory that was unsustainable. It was going to take government spending, federal government spending, from $409 billion this year to $690 billion within the decade. Now, if we had kept that trajectory going, we would have had to massively increase taxes, which would have weakened our economy, which would have caused significant job losses. What we are doing in this budget is put us back onto a more sustainable spending growth trajectory so that actually our economy is going to be strong and resilient into the future.
Minister, you just started that by saying you're being open and honest now. No one's arguing that. Yeah. The big problem is that we've sat there and potentially voted for you to get into power, and we're concerned now that you weren't open and honest when you were getting us to vote for you.
Well, I believe we were, and as I've said before, at the end of the day, people in 2.5 years will have the opportunity to pass judgment as to whether they agree with us or whether they agree with the implication of your question.
Well, Minister, let's go to our viewers. We put a couple of questions out to our viewers today. Let's talk about youth unemployment first of all. It's chronic, and in some areas it's up to 30%. So Deborah on Facebook asks you, how can you make under 30s wait for 6 months for benefits when there's not enough jobs?
Well, we don't think that young people should go straight from school onto the dole. We think that young people should either earn or learn or work for the dole. And we think in the circumstances that it is quite appropriate to have a waiting period before a young person goes on to welfare. I mean, that is a very deliberate decision. Obviously, it is not a decision that we're making in isolation. We're making a whole series of decisions to strengthen economic growth, to create more jobs, to make the economy more resilient and more prosperous so that everybody has got the opportunity to get ahead.
Well, there's a lot of people around the country that hope you're right, and in 2.5 years' time, I'm sure we'll be reassessing this budget. Minister, we appreciate your time tonight.
Always good to do that.